I want to talk about a time where I experienced such paralyzing fear that I almost missed the biggest opportunity and the biggest blessing in my life. Uh, I, if you don't know who I am, I'm Ronnie. I am a 10-year expat. Well, I'm gonna cut that out and just start from the story. Um, so I left the States and so I left the States 10 years ago. I left the States 10 years ago, and one of my biggest goals at that time was to work at a university. So I wanted to work at a university, and I moved from the States to Australia. But I was only in Australia for like 6 months because at the time I didn't have my visa, right? I didn't have my visa yet. Um, and, I wanted to work. And so I just was like thinking to myself, okay, where can I go from here that's not too far, and I can just like find somewhere to work. And my goal was to work at a university. So these are the type of jobs that I was looking at. And I was just like, all right, well, China is not too far. So let me just, see what's going on there, send out my resume. And so I did that, and very quickly, there was this one university that I was talking to. How does this go? I was talking to a recruiter. I was talking to a recruiter, and she was kind of getting in the way, right? So the guy that was actually the hiring manager, he got her out of the way, and he just like started talking to me directly. He contacted me directly, and um, and this was to teach business courses at a university. So he contacted me, and I asked my questions, and he answered them, and then he sent me the contract, and then I read over the contract, and I was like, okay, this looks pretty good. They showed me where I'd be living, through pictures and all of that. And I spoke to a teacher there. Okay, so this is for all of you who are looking to, like, if you want to work at a university overseas, make sure that before you sign any contracts, make sure that they answer all of your questions. Okay, make sure they answer all of your questions, make sure they show you where you're living, and make sure that you talk to a teacher actually living there, actually working there, right? Make sure you do that. So I did all of that, and then I signed the contract. And then that was it. I was, supposed to just book my flight and get over there. And here is where the fear comes in. Here's where I experience another level of fear that I never felt before, like almost crippling. Okay? So, so it was like 3 days. It was like I was walking in a fog for 3 days. I had no appetite. I remember I was in Brisbane. I was just like walking around, so scared. Because in my mind at the time, it was like, what am I about to do? Like, what did I just do? What's happening or whatever? And I was thinking that China was like North Korea. And all of this fear just like came on me. And and so I was really scared. This is the first time I experienced that type of fear. And I'm making this video because I know there's some of you out there that are about to make major moves. You're in the process, you're in the States. This video is not going to be about all of the problems going on over there. I'm not even going to talk about all that. We're just going to we're going to stay focused on the fear, but you know what's going on in the States. You know that, you know what's up. You know that you can get taken off, picked up, and taken away, and never be heard from again. This is what's going on. This is what's happening. So, and then there's so much more. But anyway, so this is the first time I actually experienced crippling fear to the point where I was about to back out. Now, let me just kind of back it up a little bit, because before I left the States, right, my main goal was to work overseas at a university. So in the States, I tried to do this, and it was a big problem, right? You can look at, I think I'll put my other video why I left the States here or whatever. But so that was my goal, and that's what I was praying for. You understand? And so when it happened so easy, this was just kind of like I was looking for that type of job, and the recruiter contacted me, and we were going back and forth, and then the hiring manager at the university, he contacted me directly. He got rid of the recruiter because she was just making things sloppy and slow. And he was just like, yes, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to come? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah. And I was like shocked at how easy it was, how there was no friction. So, and in hindsight, right, like all these years later, I understand spiritually that, like, when you pray for something and when God has his hand stretched over the situation, it comes easy to you. You understand? It's like there's no friction. It just kind of happens. Doors open, right? So it's like he opened the door for me and said, here, go through. I got you. So that's what I understand spiritually now. But I was scared because I was just like, I don't speak the language. Like, what am I doing? I don't know anybody. What if they eat me? And I really, I mean that. I was like, what if they eat me? What if somebody picks me up and they drive me to St. Elsewhere, and, they look at me like dark meat, tasty. Like, these were the thoughts in my head. I'm just being transparent right here. I was bugging out. And so anyway, what pushed me through this phase, because I was so scared I almost backed out. I was like, okay, I know I signed the contract, but I still don't have to go. And I was dead serious. And then I talked to my husband. I was like, maybe I shouldn't go. Maybe I should just stay. I really don't know what I'm doing, and blah, blah, blah. And what he told me was, you signed the contract, and, you have to honor that, like have integrity over what you do. So this is why it's very important to have the right people around you. This is why it's so important to have the right people around you when you're, during times of like transition in your life. It's very important because, he could have agreed with me, like, yeah, don't go anywhere, just, F them. But, I'm very thankful and happy that, I had somebody there with the same values that I have. So it's important for you to keep people around who have the same values, who are honest, who are good people, who are trustworthy, who have integrity. Those type of values is very important. People who are honest. So I was like, yeah, okay. Still scared. But what pushed me over really was having my FU money, which means if something goes wrong, if I land there, if they lie to me about where I'm staying, if anything freaky, if anything crazy happens, I got my FU money, And, I'll play like everything's cool, but, I'll be taking a cab back to that airport with the swiftness, and I'll keep it quiet as kept and just fly on out of there. So I was like, all right, if anything goes wrong, if anything's crazy, I'll just go back and I won't say nothing to nobody. So anyway, so I was like, all right, I have my FU money, and so I just went on ahead and did it. I flew over there, and man, it was like a movie. Like, I remember getting in the cab, and then the cab driver was like, he was talking to me through the app. Of course, he couldn't speak any English, so we were just like talking to each other through a translator, and on the phone. And he was asking me all of these questions, and it was crazy. I was like looking outside. I saw all of the like characters on the buildings, high-rise buildings. It was just like I was in a movie. And when I arrived at the university, I just knew. My heart told me. It was like, this is going to be an adventure here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in for some fun. We about to have some fun up in here. So, yeah. And it was just one of the most amazing experiences of my life. So, I say all that to say that I know a lot of you are in that transition period where you see what's happening and you're ready to make moves, but you might have real fear. Like, and I don't even want to play with that because a lot of people are not honest about how that feels. How fear can literally choke you. It feels like something's choking you. And that's how I felt. Not moving from the States overseas, but moving from overseas to work in China. That was like, I never experienced fear like that. And so I'm telling this story just so that hopefully it could be helpful to you as far as how to get over these things. Like, if you pray for something and the door opens easily for you, that is the Most High telling you, go through. The door is open. I got you. Right? Second, always have your FU money. Okay? Or have somebody that's got your back that will send you the FU money if things, go crazy or don't turn out right. Have your FU money. Have your, what? This isn't right. Somebody lied to me. Have the means to leave, basically, if things go crazy. What else? The other lesson about fear. Just remember, it's like in the Bible it says, be strong and of good courage, right? It says that like all around, like all throughout. It says, be strong and of good courage. So you can't receive the blessing that God has for you if you're too scared to go through the door that he opened for you. So if he's opening doors for you and he's making opportunities, he's creating these opportunities for you to leave, and you want to leave, recognize what it is. Okay? Recognize that, and don't play with that, and don't let fear win. Don't let fear win. That's the enemy trying to like make you shut the door to your own opportunity. You know what I'm saying? That's the enemy trying to make you shut the door on your opportunity. You got to take the opportunities. If doors are opening for you, no matter how scared you are, walk through. Because I cringe. I'm making this video. I'm saying this because I cringe at the fact that fear almost won. Like, I was scared for real. And fear almost got me to the point where I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And that was, man, the friends that I have now, the experiences, the way that I grew as a person and professionally, Listen, I'm a person that was, one of my biggest fears was public speaking. One of my biggest fears was speaking in front of audiences because I had a stuttering problem. When I was in elementary school, I was the kid going to what we call the trailer. I had to go to a speech therapist that really didn't help me at all. Um, and all of that. So this was a major milestone because I had to teach kids that, their English is like this. There were some students where their English was all right, but many students where their English was like this. And so I had to teach classes of like over 70 students. And I did that with excellence. You see what I'm saying? I really did. And I'm so proud of myself for that. And, you're going to be super proud of yourself for fighting through the fear and going to do the thing that you want to do. You will be so proud of yourself. You're going to be crazy proud of yourself once you do it, once you step out on faith. Okay? On the other side of fear, that's where your blessings are. That's where your pot of gold is. You got to go out there and find your pot of gold. It is not going to land in your lap. It will absolutely not land in your lap. So that's it. I'm going to make this video short and quick. This is Vonnie Light signing off. Encouraging you, motivating you, trying to be an inspiration to help you go where you glow.